Hey guys, and welcome to the latest episode of Cultured Boys, a show where two cultured boys just sort of talk about whatever they feel like during the week. I'm Nathan, and I'm joined by my ever wonderful co-host Pepe. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, man, I'm good. You know, living life, doing the Pepe thing. Oh god, I really got to think of like better ways to intro these videos. I keep on trying to stop cringing, and then
What an amazing catchphrase. Anyway, this week, unlike other weeks where we've had a topic to talk about, I'm not entirely sure this week. Pepe, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about some of the latest manga coming out in Shonen Jump this week. Yeah, I'd say that's a good start because if you guys don't know, me and Nathan we keep up to date on the weekly mangas released in this magazine, like as much as we can anyway. And I think like every now and then we'll probably talk about these mangas. So I think we'll cover off a couple today, and then we'll talk about some more for sure later on in a few episodes further. Who knows?
Yep, I think we did mention it in a previous episode, but I will just reiterate again. We are doing it legally. You can download the Manga Plus app on your phone, iOS, Android. It's free, and you can read the latest 3 chapters for free, and then the first of the 3 that came out then gets taken off. They always keep the 3 most recent chapters free. They are also doing re-releases. That's important to note as well. So if you're lucky and you catch things, like I've never read Haikyuu before, or I tried to before. They've been doing the re-releases, and I caught it literally at like chapter 1. It's on chapter 10 at the moment, so you can only read I think 7 to 10. I'm not entirely sure, but like a lot of the most popular ones, they will be doing like a re-release. Like they do Naruto re-release, they're doing a Dragon Ball one, they've got some JoJo going as well. It is worth getting the app if you want to do it the legal way. I'm not going to describe how you can do it the illegal way because don't want to get in trouble, but yeah, moving on.
We're not sponsored.
We are not sponsored. That is also another important thing.
Just wanted to know, it really did sound like a sponsor, like
If Shonen Jump or Shueisha, I guess, whoever it is, right, if they want to sponsor us, by all means, we are both big fans of Shonen. I only read Shonen, by the way, so definitely sponsor me. Maybe not Pepe. He likes other things.
How can you sponsor half of the cultured boys?
Well, I will just do an audio clip that says #ad for Nate of the cultured boys. Pepe is not cultured enough.
Right. Enough of the shit talking. Let's just jump into these chapters. So today, the two we're going to be covering off from Weekly Shonen Jump is Mashle and Sakamoto Days. Two sort of like comedy battle mangas, I'd say, that have they come out quite recently. I think both of them were released within this last year, I believe.
Sakamoto Days, I believe, came out in January?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And Mashle came out late 2020, so they are within the last like 6 months or so.
Well, looking at it, Mashle actually has 52 chapters, so technically, if it's on a weekly basis, Mashle might have been out for a year.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a weird. It feels new, but it's actually a year old. Roughly.
For those of you who don't know Mashle, first of all, and I'm sure Pepe will agree, read it. It is a very, very good series. If you like One Punch Man, you should like Mashle. It's a similar premise, except now instead of a world of superheroes or vigilantes, it's basically Harry Potter world. It's magic, except your main guy, Mash, what's his surname?
Is it Mash Bender?
If we both just said it, it must be right.
Yeah.
Confirmation bias. He is a person born without magic, much like Asta from Black Clover, except Mash does not want to be the sorcery emperor or the wizard king. He just wants to exist in this world, but Mash, much like Saitama, has been training constantly and is basically physically the strongest person ever in this world.
It's like in a world of magic, this guy has been training his muscles his whole life, and like that's what sets him apart, because in the Mashle world, basically it's like if you don't have magic, you're basically like executed. Like you shouldn't exist. That's the bias of the Mashle world. I can't exactly remember what the country's called, but we can.
I don't remember either. I don't even remember the school, if I'm honest.
No, it's quite hard to remember these certain bits. But like that's the law in Mashle. So basically, the manga starts out that Mash is discovered. His father, he's been living in a small hut with his father his whole life, like training his muscles, but he doesn't have any magic. And one day he goes into the outside world, becomes discovered that he doesn't have magic, and then he's forced to go into a magic school. That's a run rundown of it. That's a little tease of like what happens in the first chapter. But it's got great comedy in it. It's got some amazing fight scenes in it. It's as Nathan said, if you like One Punch Man, you will like this, like guaranteed.
It's basically the same thing, but instead of it being Marvel world, it's now Harry Potter. That's it.
Exactly. It's I think some people may criticize it just because it is so similar to One Punch Man. You can tell there's some similarities, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like a copy and paste job. It doesn't feel like that at all.
It really doesn't, and I think that is down to the differences in the character themselves, not in like their actual like trope, because they are the same thing. They're the physically strongest person in a world. You know what I mean? Like they're basically almost the same person, but it's the characteristics that are different. Whereas Saitama acts dumb and oblivious, he's actually a really smart guy. Whereas Mash, on the other hand, actually isn't. He is just pretty much a musclehead. He is just a muscle brain. He doesn't really think much, or doesn't come across that way. He tends to just use his muscle to win. But it is also a gag manga, like it's a comedy manga, so he's supposed to be that way.
You kind of do get those Saitama like basic reactions where it's just like the deadpan eyes, the open like the stare that like feels like there's nothing behind it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Goofy faces and everything.
But with Mash, you can tell that like with Mash as a character, he has like he's got principles. That's the thing with him. Like he'll be like a bit of like he'll be a bit of an idiot, but he will also like if someone like insults his friends or whatever, or he knows that it doesn't sit right with him, he will let that person know, and he will like destroy them with his muscles.
Because shonen protag, it's all about friendship
and cream puffs. He likes cream puffs. That's his motivation. Like
how does that work, by the way? He is ripped beyond belief, the strongest person physically in this world, and all he eats is cream puffs.
I mean, oh no. It's one way to go about it. Literally just have this one thing your whole life, like, and just like focus on that, I guess. Cream puffs is it. And if you're training every day, I mean, it's one way to live.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I wish I could eat cream puffs.
Let's face it, like, Luffy eats nothing but meat. Naruto eats nothing but ramen. Goku just eats anything. And, like, I don't know, like, all shonen protags have their quirks of, like, they're motivated by food. But, Mash's, like, main, like, kryptonite is a cream puff.
Okay, I would argue that out of all the protags, though, the first one you mentioned, also is a rubber man. He could control what his body looks like. That one's a bad example, Pepe. Come on now.
Oh yeah, sorry, the One Piece world where like anything can happen and it's all like mad fantasy. But
also, let's not talk about proportions in One Piece, okay? That is also already a world that is super anime fantastical.
Yeah.
Nami, anyone? I'm just gonna say that.
There's a lot going on there, but
let's not get into that can of worms.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day. But Mashle, like, it's saying that the Harry Potter thing really does, like, it screams Harry Potter. Like, you think like there's some things where it's like, oh, that's wizards, and like there's stuff like Black Clover where you feel like it's magic, but it doesn't feel like a Harry Potter theme. Like it's got its own sense of style.
It's Naruto but magic.
Okay, yes, it is literally that.
Yeah, but that's because Black Clover
it is a copy. It is a very similar concept. But if we talk about Black Clover and Naruto, like it's some differences. But again, Mashle just feels like a loose parody of Harry Potter, but like it's got its own twist. It's not like it's no way is it a parody of Harry Potter, but there's so many loose connections there that you could be like, that's in Harry Potter, this is in Harry Potter.
I mean, I would have to take your word on some of it, not because I'm up to date on MASH, all 52 chapters. I am not a big Harry Potter fan. That is a hot take to a lot of people in the world, by the way. I never really got into it, but I will attest it does feel pretty well grounded in this magical world. It is a world in which if you do not have magic, you are, I believe what they say in the series is essentially magic is bestowed by God. So the magic users are like the God's chosen, and the more powerful, the more blessed by God you are. So those without magic are basically the devil, and that's why they want them gone, because you're a mutant, you're an anomaly, and you shouldn't exist.
But I feel like there's more to MASH than meets the eye. I think right now, as I said, we're only 52 chapters into Mashle at the moment. And like obviously he's got his power, he's got his like muscles, which are his main like driving force and power force. But like I can't help but think there probably is something more to MASH than there is. Like there probably will be a deeper storyline somewhere down the line.
I mean, there is the overarching story, so it does have high stake technically, but we are also neglecting another part of the series series is that a lot of his side characters are the trope kind of characters. Like, and I don't really classify it as spoilers because the characters are going to come up. And also, if you hear tropes, then you'll sort of know the archetypes that'll come up. But like my favorite one is I forget his name. He's the explosion magic guy, but he's like the
I know the one. I can't. Oh god, that's.
He's like the what is it? He's like the sidekick, super serious character, but that thinks they're the protag, but he really isn't.
It's like he brings that sort of comedy out. Like he's a hard comedy character, but like when it comes to it, like he can deliver.
Yeah.
Like it kind of feels like a Hitman Reborn, like Gokudera. Gokudera sort of fighter, but he doesn't have Gokudera's personality.
Yeah. See, the vibe I got was God, what's that one guy, the blue haired guy from Psyche?
Oh, is it Kaido? It is Kaido, isn't it?
That's him, yeah. The guy who's always like, my hand,
Yeah.
I can't control. Like I think the trope is like that. What was it? I think in they mentioned this trope in another new series that came out that we aren't technically discussing, but we might in Which What? And I think in that series they called it the 8th grader syndrome or something.
It's I think it's called Chinibio, isn't it? Chinibio is the word for it, which is like that sort of like you'll think you're in that fantasy world. Like
he's that kind of character. At least that's the vibe I got, and it was really funny. Not quite as funny as Kaido though.
Yeah, Kaido's like bit, but the character's name is Dot Barrett, by the way.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
I just remember him as the explosion guy with the headband.
It's a weird one. I think because Mashle is so new, I'm still trying to get my head around the characters. And
I only remember Mash and Lance.
Lance, yeah, Lance is
because Lance is the other guy, isn't it? The sister guy, the Emoto guy.
Yes, that's it. Okay, I don't know whether I should discuss this here in this week, but again, the spoilers.
I mean, it's spoilers and it isn't. I mean, come on, man. These characters.
I feel like I'm jumping way ahead right now.
Like they're the secondary characters, but they're gonna be in it a lot, and they have been in it quite a bit. So I don't feel like we're spoiling anything because you'll meet these characters in the next like 3 or 4 chapters if you really go past chapter 1.
But yeah, there's Lance, there's your token female. As bad as that sounds, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, like, but in this manga there's
what's her name again? Lemon or something, isn't it?
Lemon, yeah. Who I haven't seen Lemon do much, to be fair. I feel like
yeah, but that's because, like you said, she's the girl trope. She's just like there, you know. She's like the Sakura in early Naruto, where she doesn't do anything. She's just there to sort of like be moral support and scream when they're in tournaments or whatever.
It's a bit disappointing that I feel like there could be stronger female characters in these series.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like I think that's the thing why Sakura was so disappointing in Naruto, because she didn't really do much. Whereas like I really want like someone like a strong female lead would be great. Like then you got like Finn.
He's just your scaredy cat sidekick, basically the sidekick trope.
Yeah, he's like basically the lowest, like like the guy that's got no power but is there, like he's a friend to Mash and he's Mash's first friend basically.
Yeah, so he's your Krillin.
Yeah, it's the Krillin trope.
Yeah,
it's like the guy that's like he's doing, I would say doing his best, but like Krillin's still fought. Whereas I think Finn, he's just there, like just standing there while shit goes on around him.
Finn is a little closer. I'll tell you what, right? Finn is if you had to talk Dragon Ball characters, is a mixture of like Dragon Ball Z, late Yamcha, and Krillin. Whereas like he's there, like Krillin is, but he doesn't really do anything like Yamcha doesn't. But I don't want to call Finn a Chaozu type.
No.
Because Chaozu just almost doesn't exist anymore. And I feel like that's like the ultimate disrespect nowadays, is to be a Chaozu type. Because Chaozu used to be a Z fighter and now he's relegated to the realms of Hua and Oolong.
I tell you what he feels like. He feels like an Usopp type, where the fact that Usopp is there and he can fight, but you know for a fact that he's not the strongest. Like he's like the thing is with Usopp though, Usopp's like very like in your face. He has the confidence, but when it comes to like actually like talking the talk, Usopp like barely carries himself. But like with Finn, it's like you said, he's a scaredy cat and he doesn't have the confidence to back himself up. However, if we're talking about the latest chapter of Mashle, like that is like you see a side of Finn that you haven't seen before. And we may be jumping ahead. We've only just talked about the introduction of characters, but like if you jump on Mashle right now and try and read of it as much as possible, you'll see like I think Finn's character development has really shown shown in this last chapter, in the latest one. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that, Pepe, that Finn is growing as a character, but again, I feel like it's the trope of the sidekick character that now he's thrown in a situation where he needs to help his pro tag. He needs to be dependable, so that's why I feel like he has to have this like character development. But overall, he's a Krillin type. He'll get his moments like Krillin did, but I don't think it'll go anything beyond that.
Nah.
I'd love to be proven wrong. Honestly, I would.
I think it's still early days in it. I think it's 52 chapters into a series, which we don't know like how long it'll go on for. It doesn't feel like it's any time stopping anytime soon. So, but yeah, there's always room for character development for all of these characters as well. There's still so much to go through.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is there anything else in Mashle you'd bring up at all? Anything?
Honestly, I don't think so. There's not. It's hard to talk about a new series that's only got so many chapters without like spoiling something. And because it's so new and people might not know it, I feel like we have even less to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it is one of those things that it's better off to just say, go and read it. Please do. It's a very good series. It's funny and it's got some good fights. And if you like One Punch Man, you'll like it. I know that's like the third or fourth time we've said it.
But it is completely that vibe. It is that vibe.
But seriously, please do go check it out.
But yeah. After Mashle, like there was this other series we were talking about, which is a very similar sort of genre. It's Sakamoto Days.
Sakamoto Days has even less chapters. Again, like we said earlier, I believe Sakamoto Days came out in January. So it's only got 13 chapters, but it came in strong. Oh my god.
Oh god, the first chapter. Like I think me and you were talking about this like in a private chat, and we were like, "Have you read this manga?" Like this, like I think you messaged me about this one chapter, and I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll read this." Like, and then honestly, from that first chapter, this series gripped me. It has been like 13 chapters so far, but like I don't think I've been disappointed by a chapter so far at all.
Me personally, I think it dipped just a little bit, but that's to be expected. You know, with every series, they can start off hard, but they still need to do a lot of exposition. They need to do a lot of world building so that you can then feel like this is a existing world and that you can then just sort of watch the characters do their thing. But besides that, that first chapter was really, really strong. I don't feel like I've read a first chapter that strong in quite a while.
I think you and me, we both like try and start out as many series from Weekly Jump as possible when a new one comes around and another one finishes.
Yeah, because you never know what you'll find.
Exactly. Sometimes you're like going to be onto a golden series that could be the next like Naruto or something like that. Like and then there's like with Sakamoto Days, it's like it hit so good compared to like other series that you see come and go within like 20 chapters or like 30 chapters. Like so like this series just hit it right from the get-go, and I was like, damn, this is actually gonna be one of my favorite series, I think, because it just like it's the comedy in it, it's the battle in it, the art on it is just like it catches you off guard sometimes as well.
I do want to mention that I'm glad you said about the art, because have you noticed how it's like it is really good artwork, but it's also really still that sort of I hate to keep bringing up One Punch Man, but you know, like in the anime they got the animators to do that sort of chaotic like scribbly line art, and I feel like Sakamoto Days has that sort of like chaotic fluidity to the art style as well. That's it really, really suits it, like really, really. And you'll understand once we get into the premise. I don't know. Yeah, you do it, Pep.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we've just like talked about how good this series is, but we actually haven't talked about what the series is about. I've just realized. So Sakamoto Days is about an assassin who is in retirement. He was literally one of the best assassins out there. Like he's like top tier basically. But I say retirement. He literally went missing, so no one actually knew where he went. But it turns out he actually started a second life with and started a family. But within this family, he's promised himself that he won't kill anymore. So he just wants a normal family life. It's like this assassin who is like top of his game has just disappeared, and he started a family life, and it is just where it goes from there. It's kind of like he's getting slightly brought back in to the assassin world. Like his wife has a strict no kill policy, and he follows that. Like there's so much more to it as well. Like all the characters that are introduced as well. There's I can't remember the character's name.
I don't remember the other main character besides. But in case you don't read it or don't choose to read it, it's called Sakamoto Days because the main character, the legendary assassin, the number one assassin, is actually called Sakamoto. That's his surname. You often will in the series hear him referred to as Mr. Sakamoto. So Mr. Sakamoto is living his normal life with his family in their convenience store that they run. And the main character, who both Pepe and I regretfully do not know his name, he appears and is from the assassin world. He knew of Mr. Sakamoto. No, he worked with him, didn't he? It's said in the first chapter that they worked together at some points, didn't they, or something?
Yeah, it's something along those lines.
Anyway, the actual, I guess, I don't want to say main character because it is kind of like, it really is Mr. Sakamoto that's the main character. I guess the narrator of the series, it's probably better to call him that, is also an assassin, finds Mr. Sakamoto to try and get him to come back to the assassin world because he's a legend. And the first chapter is super strong because it's basically this guy trying to convince someone who has their own reasons for leaving this dirty underground life without knowing anything of why he left. And it's just action packed. It's super action packed. And again, that chaotic art style really, really suits the action when it happens in this series.
If I was going to compare it to any movie that anyone might know, it's kind of like a Kindergarten Cop sort of thing. I don't know if you ever watched a movie, Nathan, Kindergarten Cop.
I don't think I have.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where it's like this guy who is undercover trying to find he's an undercover. This is really.
I know the meme. Put the cookie down.
Put the cookie down.
I literally don't know anything but the memes.
It kind of feels like a similar vibe to that. Obviously, it's nothing like Kindergarten Cop, but
yes, at no point does anyone say put the cookie down.
no. But like basically, there's that dynamic where Arnold Schwarzenegger is obviously the tough guy that is actually supposed to be pretending to be really like chilled. It's the same vibe with Sakamoto. Like he's like running this corner shop, and he looks like the most like chill guy ever. Like he's like Sakamoto got fat as well. Like that's the one thing we need to emphasize here. Like I think the first chapter,
he looks like the most harmless teddy bear ever.
Literally, the first chapter goes on about how like Sakamoto was back in the day, like the ultimate assassin. And I think 3 chapters in, it literally just says Sakamoto got out of shape. Like, and then and that's the great thing about this character though, because like not only is he has these epic moments of like the moment where he could just snap and just kill someone, but he also looks like hilariously.
I found the perfect comparison, right? And I swear to God, Disney, please do not come after us. Mr. Sakamoto is kind of like Baymax. He's like cute and cuddly, you know, like, and unassuming, and you just sort of he's there in the background and you're just sort of like, look at that big old thing, that's harmless, and then he kills you. He's kind of, I guess it's because we were talking about Mash before this, but to me he's got that kind of Master Roshi vibe, you know?
Oh yeah, especially with the
unassuming, but then all of a sudden he bulks up and is like, will kick the shit out of you, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, it is that sort of vibe to it. And oh man, the other guy's name is Shin, by the way.
Oh, okay, thank you for looking that up, by the way.
I know, literally about 5 minutes after we mentioned, what's that guy's name? God knows. And yeah, it's Shin. But yeah, you're right. It is that cuddly sort of. You could easily see a Mr. Sakamoto plush in like a shop somewhere.
And weirdly, I would buy one.
Yeah, I would get. It's like honestly, it's one of those series where I really do hope an anime comes out for it.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Because it like I think if like Sakamoto Days got an anime, it would absolutely smash it. I feel like it's one of those ones where like it.
Oh, that would be so cool. Seeing some of these fight scenes animated, like that first chapter animated, would be so sick.
Oh god, like the thing is about Sakamoto Days as well is like obviously like because he's an assassin, he has these visions of like what he would do to kill this person, but obviously he has a no kill policy now, so it's just in his mind. But you can see like if that had an anime, you could see that like shock moment, and then it goes back.
I need to explain also why the comedy factor comes in. It's what Pepe's saying it would be amazing and funny to watch is because Shin, was it you said, the main character? I've forgotten already, it's so bad. Shin is psychic, he can read minds, so that's why this first chapter is also really amazing, and why the comedy that Pepe just mentioned really worked, because Sakamoto, if he really thinks, he often thinks about how he would deal with a situation, tends to be graphic because he would kill someone, he was an assassin, but Shin has come in and disturbed his life, so, and because Shin can read minds, Shin can see Sakamoto imagining himself killing people, or Shin himself. That's why this also has comedy vibes, because it's pretty funny like that.
Oh god, it's like it's so on point. Like I think it's like it's one of those ones like if you like Hitman Reborn, I'd say if you like Gintama, if you like those sort of like those comedy battle series, like your One Punch Mans as well, where you're looking for like a good epic fight, but you're also looking for that comedy on the side, this series would be perfect for you. I think it's lighthearted enough to just like carry that. Like there's so many good points in it, honestly.
I mean, even in the latest chapter, I I found part of the ending of the latest chapter quite funny. Spoiler alerts, by the way. I'm going to talk about the latest chapter. But you know when when they need the info, so they go to a VHS store.
Oh God.
And they're like, wait, what? Why are we in a VHS store? Why? They don't have information. And they're like, yeah, they do, in the form of a movie. And then they go and watch it on a proper movie screen, by the way, inside the shop. And like, it's funny because at the end, they're like, God, that movie was really good. And like, Shin goes into like cinematography and all that, like proper analyzes this film about the assassinus organization. And like, they're talking about like the twist and stuff because the movie, even though it's info about what they need, was an actual movie as well. Like, that's the kind of thing you can expect.
Is so many. I think it's still early days right now with the series, and I really do hope it sticks around because at this point, like this is like on the 13th chapter, this is where we start to see whether like this series is gonna really take off or whether it's just gonna like fade out. Because right now, like they're still doing character development, they're still establishing some characters. There's some characters that have come and gone, like side characters, like in and out. I really do hope it sticks around for a bit more, and I can't wait till this series gets a proper arc with it, like a proper like it's first, because it's first arc, which would be ideal to see. Right now we're still like in those mini character introductions, and like they're sort of kind of like one-off chapters, apart from like maybe like strains of 3 chapters. Like I don't, you know what I mean?
The latest stuff I think has been, I want to say 4 chapters maybe.
Yeah.
And that's what you were saying. It's a mini arc.
Yeah.
They are still establishing things, but right now, as of the latest chapter, they've set it up for the next, well, I guess the first story arc, as you would call it. It's, yeah, Pepe's right. This is the test. This is where I want to say, most mangas will either, this is their test, because some don't even get past their first chapter. They just die straight away. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. This is a really, really good series, and I want to see it continue. Both series we spoke about, I just realized would be really cool to see animated.
100%.
For the exact same thing, that they've got a lot of, even in the still images, like the still panels of a chapter, when you read, you know, like in your imagination, you can see the movement. You do like the in-between frames in your mind. And I would just love to see both of these like animated by some of these cool, like whoever's been brought on to do like JoJo stuff or Dragon Ball Broly movie, that kind of animation, or One Punch Man. Like there's a lot of cool animators out there that have done some amazing fight scenes, and I'd love to see some of these animated by these people.
For sure, definitely.
Like these true professionals. It would be amazing to see the fluidity and the chaos of it all, because that's one thing I've noticed, and I'm not sure if you noticed as well. Like, have you seen like that some of these newer fight scenes that are amazing in like modern animation is a little bit sort of looks a little scuffed, like they leave a lot of extra lines and it's like really sort of like sketchy and kind of like jagged.
I think Jujutsu Kaisen does that the best, I'd say. I don't know if you've seen it at all, but like I'd highly recommend that as well. It's like I think it's coming to the end of its first season or series, but like that does the whole jagged line thing really well. Like I think, and I don't know who animates Jujutsu. Like I know what was it? Demon Slayer was a brilliant way of had a brilliant way of doing fight scenes. But that seems very fluid. I feel like it doesn't come across with that jagged thing that you were saying earlier.
Demon Slayer is one of the only modern series that I can think of that sort of went against everything else, where everyone else was doing chaotic. But I guess that's because everything else is like fists and guns and all like, you know, like melee kind of stuff. Whereas like Demon Slayer, because it was sword fighting and, you know, like traditional like kendo and all that, is supposed to be like very precise. And I think it's also because of the abstract nature of the breathing technique of Demon Slayer. That's why it's cleaner, and it needed to be cleaner because it's based off of something that is already in itself very like accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it.
I tell you, I think it's Studio Bones that did Mob Psycho 100.
Dude, that's got great animation in it.
Yeah, I'd say like Sakamoto Days would really benefit from a Mob Psycho 100 sort of style to it.
Ooh, okay, you got me hyped. And this isn't even it's not an official anything, but that would be sick. Some of the it's like some of the ones where like Mob goes nuts, like off 100%.
It's a Bone Studio to do Mob Psycho 100.
Ooh, some of that in Sakamoto Days.
And like honestly, like I could see like that. You could just imagine it. Like if you've read the manga of Sakamoto Days and you've seen the art style and animation of Mob Psycho 100, you can tell that these two would go hand in hand. If you disagree with us, let us know in the comments below if you think that like any other studio can do Sakamoto Days this well. Because I don't think I think Studio Bones would be perfect for this. I think
I'm 100% with you on that. And also, also, small other advertisement that we're not paid for. If you haven't watched Mob Psycho 100, please go watch that.
100%.
It is actually really, really good. It is made by the same artist, One, who does One Punch Man, but Mob Psycho it's the same sort of. I hate that we're talking about One Punch Man in such a way, because I actually really love One Punch Man. Mob Psycho is about a kid who is the strongest esper in the world, but he doesn't want to be. He just wants to be like a normal kid, but the rest of the world sort of treats espers.
It's a weird one, isn't it? With it's
some people idolize them, and it's basically set up in this world that the espers know that they're the strongest, but they're not on top. So a lot of espers like abuse their powers, and Mob is just trying to be a normal boy, a normal middle high school kid. He couldn't care less for his powers. He just wants to be a normal kid, but everyone else around him loves him for his powers.
What's the club that he joins? He joins the
the body improvement club.
The body he joins this club, like this skinny, like small guy, like
that's what's worse. He's anemic, so he can't exercise. he passes out if he or what I think it's anemic, isn't it? Or something like that. Basically, if he exercises, he passes out, and it doesn't take long to do that.
Oh, it's there we go. There's like four series we've just given you there that you need to check out. That's like Mashle, Sakamoto Days, One Punch Man. If you haven't checked out One Punch Man, I'd be very surprised because
what are you doing, by the way?
Yeah, check that out. And Mob Psycho, because Mob Psycho is brilliant. If you like One Punch Man, you'll like all of these series I've just mentioned, that we've just mentioned.
By the way, if you like One Punch Man, and I said it earlier, you would like Mob Psycho 100. It's made by the same guy.
Exactly. I think that's a good place to close it. I think we've talked about how good these series are as battle and comedy, and that is the focus of this. You like those series, you'll definitely like these two. That's I think if I was to give either one a 10 out of 10 recommend, I'd give Mashle, if I was to rate these series on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give Mashle a hard 8.5, and I'd give Sakamoto Days another 8.5. I'd actually put them on the same scale, I'd actually put them exactly the same point.
I would put both at a slightly lower 7, but again, we've said it before, it's early days, so there's more to come and there's room for improvement. But as far as my enjoyment goes, not that much room. It doesn't need to improve that much. They're already really solid. They're always some of my go-tos to read at the moment. Sakamoto Days is actually one of my favorites overall out of the current weeklies. And yeah, just go and check these series out. Both of the ones that we mentioned on Manga Plus, and go and watch One Punch Man or read it, and go and watch Mob Psycho 100. I feel like Mob Psycho 100 is quite underrated.
I feel like it could, I think compared to One Punch Man, you definitely feel that. I think you can definitely see that. But either way, you get the chance to check them out, definitely check them out.
Oh, for sure. And I know we've asked you guys to leave comments several times, but if you like this kind of thing, do let us know, because we're always down to talk about manga. We do it off recording all the time, but if you want to hear our thoughts on some of the other series, because that's 2 of, I don't know, 12 weeklies or whatever, we haven't talked about a lot of them.
Oh god, I think there's 20.
There's plenty more to talk about.
Yeah, there's loads.
So let us know in the comments below what you think, and if you want us to do more of these kind of episodes. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.